Fortune magazine even recognized us as one of the best places to work. Why? Because we genuinely care. In fact, some of our former clients were so moved by their experience working with us, they joined our team so they could help others to timeshare freedom. If you're stuck in a timeshare, give us a call. Let our family help your family.
Call Wesley now for your free timeshare exit kit. 800-885-7700. 800-885-7700. That's 800-885-7700.
Department is defending the destruction of hundreds of tons of expiring high-energy biscuit supplies stored in Dubai. Spokesperson Tammy Bruce says it represents a small portion of the food that the U.S. distributes each year. Bruce also defended the Trump administration from critics who say it's the result of White House cuts to U.S. aid.
If the implication there was that this was due to the U.S. aid action or a pause or something, I would say that that is incorrect.
Parts of Louisiana remain under a flood watch as a major storm system brings heavy rainfall to the area. Some areas bracing for more than a foot before the end of the week. ABC News meteorologist Brittany Bell has more.
Level 3 out of 4 risk that includes southern sections of Louisiana for Lafayette and Gordy. They could see 3 to 4 inch rainfall rates per hour. So that's a lot of rainfall in a short period of time. Also, multi-day totals could approach 15 inches. That's over a foot of rain. So the elevated risk for flash flooding includes spots like Lake Charles, Baton Rouge, even New Orleans and Mobile, some more populated areas.
In Maine, a 17-year-old was arrested today in the murder of Sunshine Stewart, a paddleboarder who went missing and was later found dead near the town of Union. ABC's Olivia Rubin reports.
The official familiar with the investigation has told us that this individual comes to the pond area with his family to spend vacation time there. So potentially someone who is familiar in the area.
I'm Dave Packer, ABC News.
Quiet down, here she comes. Surprise! Your accountant just emailed to say your quarterly taxes are way higher than you were expecting.
At Progressive, we know small business owners don't usually like surprises because they cost you money. But a good surprise that could save you money? Getting discounts with a commercial auto quote from Progressive.
Also, your favorite employee is leaving. They're going to pursue their dream of being a veterinarian.
Surprise yourself. See if you can save in as little as 7 minutes at ProgressiveCommercial.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Discounts not available in all states or situations.
News Talk 610 AM and 102.1 FM. KVNU.
It's now 5:05 on this Thursday afternoon, and with your KVNU News headlines, I'm Will Fiore. Well, happening earlier today in sports, Utah State football coach Bronco Mendenhall sat down with KVNU's Craig Hislop along with Eric Franson of our sister station, The Fan, to talk about this new era in Aggie football. Now, of course, earlier in media days in Las Vegas, the Aggies were picked 9th overall to finish in the Mountain West. And head coach Mendenhall talked about this new Aggie team, particularly new because of so many new players that have been added to the roster.
There's so few players that are remaining. We've added 87 new players. And so when you think about that in a roster size typically in college football now of 105, give or take, that number is really what was there to keep together.
It's so crazy.
And so as we're restarting, basically, it wasn't really where he was keeping together. He was becoming the catalyst leading forward and creating new relationships and building new bonds and solidifying direction, while at the same time he was having to decide with a new coach, is this the right approach for him? Right.
Now, that's Coach Mendenhall talking about his starting quarterback, Bryson Barnes, who we heard from yesterday down in Las Vegas. Now, media days will wrap up today as we look forward to kickoff of this year's season. Well, a feasibility study on a potential 15-megawatt solar array in Logan has left city council members with more questions than answers. Now, Council Chair Jeannie Simmons had requested the study for local renewable energy, but Logan Light and Power Director Mark Montgomery had presented a range of complex options on Tuesday night during the council's meeting. Now, those included placing panels on sewer lagoons or various city rooftops, while also exploring commercial power purchase agreements or continuing with the city's current diverse energy strategy. Now, Simmons expressed interest in solar panels on sewer lagoons for dual use and a green message, but Mayor Holly Daines raised cost concerns. Now, smaller scattered arrays face challenges with costly transmission lines, though behind-the-meter options at existing substations were discussed discussed as a possibility, albeit with limited space. Now, the city, facing the loss of 2 coal-fired power plants, is pursuing an all-of-the-above approach to energy, which have included contracts for fossil fuel-generated power, which has drawn criticism from some local environmentalists. And more than a month after a bystander was fatally shot during a No Kings protest in downtown Salt Lake City, police have now formally presented their case to the Salt Lake County District Attorney's Office. However, the investigation is not yet complete. District Attorney Sim Gill confirmed his office received the case back on July 2nd, but has requested additional information from detectives after reviewing the initial evidence. Now, Gill did not specify what further details are being sought. No determination has been made on whether charges will be filed in the death of Arthur Alu. Alu, a fashion designer, was an innocent bystander who was struck by gunfire back on June 14th. Now, police spokesperson Brent Weisberg reiterated that the police department does not make charging recommendations, but instead provides investigative findings for review. Now, a volunteer peacekeeper that was hired by protest organizers reportedly fired at Arturo Gamboa, who was legally carrying an AR-15 at the protest. Now, Gamboa was released from jail days after his arrest when prosecutors determined that they couldn't make an informed decision on charges by a legal deadline. Well, sunny skies continuing through the rest of the afternoon as we're going to see temperatures tonight drop into the high 50s. Tomorrow will be back into the low 90s. And same for Saturday and into Sunday, as we'll start to see a chance again of some isolated thunderstorms passing through the area tomorrow afternoon and again Saturday afternoon. Doesn't look like we're going to see much moisture from these storms. They'll be kind of quick moving, and let's just hope they don't spark any more new wildfires. And bringing you our weather this hour is Edson Builders. They have recently teamed up with Innovative Home Finishes to give you a better building experience. And right now, give them a call and find out if you qualify for a $20,000 first-time home builder incentive. Yeah, their phone number is 232-2680. Give them a call today. And I'm Will Feelright with your KVNU News Update.
Feeling the heat? So is your lawn. Logan Extermination's Summer Back to Green treatment helps your grass bounce back from summer stress, starting at just $45 for up to 5,000 square feet. And bugs? Nope, not this July. Get Logan Extermination's Outside General Insect Spray, regularly $75, now just $60 for up to 2,000 square feet. Just mention this ad when you schedule. Call Logan Extermination at 752-8450. Online at loganextermination.net, a division of Anderson Seed and Garden.
Stay informed, stay connected. News Talk KVNU, 610 AM, 102.1 FM, and online at 610kvnu.com.
Fatigue, headaches, weight gain, hair loss, insomnia, anxiety, intestinal issues, joint pain. Do you suffer from consistent symptoms like these, and no matter how many doctors you see, things still don't improve? Whether you have a thyroid problem, an autoimmune issue, or chronic symptoms, we can help. We do complex medical testing and blood work to find the mechanisms driving your symptoms. And then we create a plan to improve each one while we teach you the tools to stay on top of your health. We've been helping patients just like you for almost 14 years now. We see patients from all over the world, and we have an office in St. George, Logan, Salt Lake, Farmington, and Springville. You aren't crazy, you aren't lazy. It's not just because you're getting older, and these symptoms are not normal. No matter what symptoms you have, you shouldn't feel this way, and we can help. Don't accept Band-Aid answers.
Call Red River Health and Wellness at 855-55-RIVER.
Call Red River today.
The beloved Broadway hit Les Miserables comes to life July 11th through the 26th at the Utah Theater when the very best high school performers from across the state of Utah take the stage. This high school production features the winners and finalists of the Utah High School Musical Theater Awards. Don't miss the future voices of Broadway with costumes, sets, and direction by Utah Festival Opera and Musical Theater. Les Mis, July 11th through 26th. Tickets at utahfestival.org. utahfestival.org.
It's our 100th year of summer getaways at Murdoch Chevrolet. From the mountains to Moab, we'll get you there because every great summer starts with the right ride. Right now, take up to $9,500 off or get 0% for 3 years on the Silverado 1500. When you walk through our doors, you feel like family at Murdoch Chevrolet in Logan and Woods Cross and online at murdochchev.com. Chevrolet, together let's drive.
Call 888-391-6083 or see dealer for complete details. Offer expires 7/31/25.
Hi, this is Gordon Deal. Friday on This Morning, America's First News. President Trump understands modern media as well as any American leader, but the divide over the Epstein files represents a new test of his ability to control headlines and the news cycle. Also, if you're supposed to be in the office 5 days a week, where is everybody? And the tech users finding true love with their chatbot assistants. Friday on This Morning, America's First News. From 4 to 6 on News Talk KVNU, 610 AM and 102 FM. Your station for news and talk.
Welcome back to KVNU's For the People. Hour 2 of today's show. I'm Jason Williams. Gone up a bit. 91 degrees now here at the Radio Ranch. Beautiful sunny afternoon, though. A little smoky, a little hazy. That is wildfire smoke for the most part. We did have some breeziness this week, so there may be a little bit of that dust still in the air, but most of what you're seeing is likely the smoke from the fires. And a quick update on that. Fire crews made some progress on the buckboard fire that's burning southwest of Malad, and it is near the Utah-Idaho border. It is about 75% contained as of last word, which was several hours ago. The Idaho Bureau of Land Management reported late last night that crews had been working throughout the day and would continue to work through the night to increase containment, and then they took a break, and fire officials cautioned that due to the fire's size, difficult terrain, and forecast for gusty winds again, it's going to be several days before they get this fully under control. So that started Tuesday evening, apparently, or approximately 10 miles southwest of Malad in the Samaria Mountains. And authorities suspect the fire was started naturally, lightning or something similar. And that, again, is about 1,700 acres so far that is burned. But, again, about 75% contained. But fire crews saying it's going to be another day or two at least, mainly due to the terrain that they're trying to fight this fire in. So second fire is ignited last night east of Thatcher, Idaho. Firefighters are battling what is approximately a 250-acre fire. Will Feelwright has the details on this at CacheValleyDaily.com. Again, it's burning just east of Thatcher near the Trout Creek drainage area. The Rocky Knoll fire, as it's been called, prompted a pretty big response. Both local crews and federal crews were brought in, and they made quick progress slowing its spread before air operations had to come to an end last night. And Idaho BLM ground crews kept working through the night to secure and stretch out some of the fire lines. And fire managers hope that they resumed helicopter and bucket drop operations today. And so they hope that they're getting the best of this. When the fire is burning through basically just dry juniper out there near Thatcher, Idaho. If you've been to the area, you know what I'm talking about. And they said that fighting the fire has been very labor intensive. And they said this is going to be a few days as well to get a handle on this one. And responding agencies on this one, again, this was Forest Service, both Caribou and Targhee National Forest Service officials and firefighters, Idaho Falls District BLM crews for the road and juniper bush cutting that's been going on, Caribou County Fire and Franklin County Fire, all involved in this. And this, again, is a multi-agency, but also a lot of different equipment. They're using the traditional engines and water tenders and air crews, but they're also using a whole team of dozers. Again, because of the terrain in this one, not as difficult as the terrain that they're working with on the fire south of Malad, but in this situation, you're talking about pretty thick, dry juniper country, and to cut a fire line in that's wide enough, yeah. So there is some difficulty there, and so they've got, I think, the Franklin County Fire officials told Preston Media that they had something like 7, 8 dozers going, cutting those fire lines. Yeah, it's that season. I'm throwing this out both to update you and explain why the air is a little hazier even today, but also to remind everybody, because we are headed into the second legal fireworks window later next week here in Utah, and it is pretty dry out there, to say the least. So one other quick note on this. I mentioned this yesterday. Yeah, this is really frustrating stuff to see. And I want to chalk it up to, this is kids, and kids are going to do dumb things, but there have been enough stories and even arrests over the last few years for me to know it isn't always kids. It's sometimes an adult without their brain engaged. But Utah fire crews in Utah fighting so down in southern Utah, there's a fire burning for a few days now called the Forsyth Fire near Pine Valley in Washington County. And yesterday, ABC News here in Utah reported this afternoon that their entire air crew team, the helicopters and the planes with the fire retardant, all of them had to be grounded. I just talked about this on yesterday's show, warning people that, you can cause all of the air crew to have to land, because to keep the pilot safe, when someone's drone enters the area, that drone hitting the wrong part of a helicopter or even a small engine plane, and everybody's dead. And so the drone is spotted, the air crews land, all firefighting efforts come to a halt as far as the air crew goes. And that can be enough for the fire to get the best of firefighters and put them back to square one. Well, I said, don't do this. And then that exact thing happened last night here in Utah. Fire officials with the Great Basin National Incident Management Team said wildfire areas, they want to remind the public, are no drone zones. If there is a fire being fought, keep your drone out of the air. If a drone is spotted, safety protocol for all personnel involved with air fire suppression efforts must be grounded until the drone can be removed, which a lot of times they shoot it down. Sometimes they can find the person operating the drone and say, hey, doofus, we had to land all the planes fighting the fire because you've put a drone in the air. Officials said they just want to remind the public, if you fly, we can't. And again, that was a drone spotted flying overhead in the Forsyth Fire area, where the Forsyth Fire is burning. And so fire crews putting this word out through Salt Lake media today, just reminding everybody not to do this. I know it can be tempting to get an aerial view of a wildfire or wildfire fighting efforts. Also, one man that was arrested here in Utah several years ago was getting media, video, and photography that he was hoping he could then sell to the media. And he did that professionally. But whether it's a hobby drone or something you're using professionally, if you put it in the air, one, you're putting them at risk. If they don't see it and they hit it, you could kill everyone on that helicopter or plane. But one thing that is guaranteed to happen when they see your drone, protocol is everyone lands. So all firefighting works comes to a stop as far as the aerial crew goes when that drone goes up. So just don't do it. And I feel like this is still happening a lot out there. There's no need for it. We should all know this. But, so just after I mentioned yesterday on the show that we always have a story or two each summer, wildfire season, to tell about this. Well, that exact thing happened last night. Somebody flew a drone, and the Forsyth firefighting team had to land everything and pause firefighting operations for a couple of hours until they could get the drone out of the sky. No word on whether they located the individual operating the drone or what have you. I don't know, but don't do this, please. All right. There's your update on the fires and a wee bit of a lecture from me. It's just frustrating. Someone puts a drone in the air and everybody has to stop fighting the fire. We'll be back right after this.
Grasshopper and other pest problems? Here's Chad the lawn doctor with a solution.
Grasshoppers are a problem again this year. It's been mentioned and written about in the news and by experts. Watch for the baby nymphs initially, and then as they develop to adults, they feed on vegetation both on the farms and in your gardens at home. Treatment is best early on, but can be treated at any time. Enjoy your summer nights, barbecues, and parties with our Yard Armor Pest Control Service that controls grasshoppers, mosquitoes, spiders, wasps, and other insects. Give us a call at 435-753-LAWN or find us at lawndoctorcashvalley.com.
I'm Larry Gelwicks, the getaway guru for Morris Columbus Travel and Norwegian Cruise Line. Enjoy more fun at sea with Norwegian, including a free air promotion, shore excursion credits, specialty dining, open bar, Starlink Wi-Fi, and on select cruises, the third and fourth person sharing your cabin sail absolutely free. You just pay the taxes. For the best travel deals on the planet, give us a call at Morris Columbus Travel.
Come on and get away, Morris Columbus.
Hi, it's Olivia Munn with My Shelter Pets, Frankie and Chance, reminding you that when you adopt a shelter pet, you discover all the things that make them unique. Adopt pure love at theshelterpetproject.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council, the Humane Society of the United States, and Maddie's Fund.
Text and work. Text and pretend to work. Text and act surprised when someone calls you out for not working. Who, me? Text and whatever, just don't text and drive. Visit StopTextsStopWrecks.org. A message from NHTSA and the Ad Council.
Friday edition, Clay Travis, Buck Sexton Show. We will put a bow on what has been another wild week of the Trump administration. We will discuss all the big wins in Congress, including NPR and PBS being defunded, all of those moves and more. You won't want to miss it. We'll send you into the weekend in a good mood. Make sure you come hang with us on Clay and Buck.
10 to 1 on News Talk KVNU, 102 FM at 610 AM.
Welcome back to KVNU's For the People. Coming up, some updates from Cashwater District. They're taking things to a new level with their work to coordinate with the public, with other government agencies and more, to focus on conservation, but also find out, where the need is most. So an update on that. We talked a bit about it last week. Also, audio of conversation today with Bronco Mendenhall, new USU football coach. Eric Franson and Craig Hislop had a chance to sit down with him at the Mountain West Media Days event earlier today. You've heard some clips throughout the news. We've got a good chunk of the audio. The whole thing is quite long. If you'd like to listen to it, it is available online via the CV Daily Sports YouTube channel, and I've linked to that on our Facebook page. Also, recap of the conversation, the juiciest highlights and more, with a link to the audio in the story at cashvalleydaily.com. But we'll have, the parts that stood out to me, some highlights from that conversation. Eric Franson, Craig Hislop, and Bronco Mendenhall sitting down for a pretty lengthy, laid-back chat. So, this has been, I don't know. There's a discussion right now happening, attorneys petitioning a judge around the planned execution of Ralph Menzies. I talked about this earlier on the show because it's getting national attention. He's chosen the firing squad as his preferred method for his life to be ended by the state of Utah. This is post-conviction. All appeals are exhausted, all of this stuff. There's no question about why this person is on death row. The question is that he now has a form of dementia that his attorneys are saying means a lot of the time he doesn't understand what's happening to him. A judge has disagreed. A district judge has said he has capacity enough. He had capacity when he was sentenced and understood the sentence. He has capacity enough now to understand he's on death row and will be executed. And that should be enough to satisfy the law, at least, on this. His attorneys are arguing that that isn't the case, that he should be, his sentence should be commuted to life in prison. Governor Spencer Cox, during his monthly news conference earlier today, we'll have the audio for you tomorrow on the show, said he was relieved that he doesn't have to make these decisions, whether death row inmate is granted clemency. He told reporters selfishly it's a relief to not have that power. In Utah, the governor doesn't get that option. Other states do have that option. He said, I don't have to make these decisions. It's nice not to have people, coming and begging me to make those decisions. I can't imagine making the decision. When asked to weigh in, he said he didn't know enough about the situation, but that if there was a question about a person's mental acuity or capacity to understand what was happening to them, it's definitely worth at least judicial review, which is kind of happened now at this point. The attorneys for Menzies are appealing it up, but yeah, I don't know, a tough question. I'm with the governor. I hope I am never in the situation where I have to decide all this. Menzies, what was it Menzies was convicted of is awful. Killed a 26-year-old mother, slit her throat, and left her body tied to a tree up a Big Cottonwood Canyon. A jury convicted him in a trial 2 years after the crime was committed in 1988. The crime was committed in 1986. He's been on death row since. And he's scheduled to be put to death by firing squad, his choice, September 5th. But again, this is trickling through the courts as they decide, whether or not he, and I get this matters, whether or not he really understands that his life is about to be ended. We'll see what happens. But if you want to hear the governor's remarks, I've linked to them on our Facebook page, and we'll have some more highlights from the governor's monthly press conference tomorrow on the show ahead of the movie show. Stick around. More news from the Cache Water District. There's a lot of moving parts with water in Utah in general. The Cache Water District is on top of it. Right after these headlines with KVNU's Will Feel Right.
Thank you, Jason. Civil rights activists are urging Utahns and thousands of other people across the country to cause some good trouble today in the name of protecting America's democracy. Now, organizers of today's National Day of Action say that they plan to send a message to leaders in Washington, D.C. to respect and protect the country's democracy. Now, events are being scheduled throughout the state, even here locally, and throughout the country in honor of the late Congressman John Lewis, a civil rights leader who believed in causing nonviolent good trouble to challenge injustice. Now, Lisa Gilbert with the nonprofit group Public Citizen says that America's way of life is at risk.
We are navigating what is one of the most terrifying moments in our nation's history. We are all grappling with a rise of authoritarianism and lawlessness, and the rights, freedoms, and expectations of our very democracy are being challenged.
Now, Congressman Lewis, who died at the age of 80 back on July 17th, 2020, was a lifelong civil rights activist and a leader who served Georgia's 5th Congressional District for 30 years. Now, Lewis may be best known for his participation in a 1963 civil rights march across the Edmund Pettus Bridge in Selma, Alabama, where he was attacked and severely beaten by police. Now, the coalition's co-leader, Darrell Jones, said that Lewis demanded action when he saw injustice.
One of the things that John Lewis would always say is that if you see something that's wrong, you have an obligation to speak up, to say something, to do something. Seeing things across this nation, seeing things that are being impacted that are just not right.
Now, there are several activities that are taking place throughout the state, including several Meet the Candidates nights that are taking place tonight. One of those at Merlin Olsen Park for Logan and North Logan voters, and another in Wellsville. And a Utah man has been sentenced up to 15 years in prison for 2 felony counts of sexual exploitation of a minor. Now, Wesley Derek Dean received the sentence this week. And during his sentencing, prosecutors in Iron County emphasized the severe impact of such crimes. Now, the Iron County Attorney's Office stated that materials like those possessed by Dean fuel a market for vile and deeply harmful images and videos that exploit and traumatize children. Now, they also added that every image represents a child whose innocence was stolen. And a firefighter was injured and airlifted to a hospital earlier this week while battling the Forsyth fire in southern Utah. Now, Dameron Valley Fire and Rescue officials reported that the firefighter was hurt in a fall and then was extracted from the mountain by a helicopter. Now, they were then stabilized at a landing zone and flown to St. George Regional Hospital. Now, officials did not release details about the injuries or the cause of the fall, but stated that the firefighter is expected to make a full recovery. Of course, firefighters have been active throughout this area over the last several days, battling several brush fires and wildfires. One of those brush fires starting earlier today, just north of Cove, near the Idaho-Utah border. Luckily, firefighters were able to quickly get on the scene of that fire and get it extinguished. Of course, there's a larger fire burning over in Thatcher that had consumed over 250 acres. And then the largest fire in this area is the buckboard fire that's been burning over near Malad. That has scorched nearly 1,600 acres. Well, and it's going to remain hot the next several days as overnight temperatures tonight expected to drop into the high 50s. And then tomorrow, sunny skies, temperatures in the low 90s. We'll see that continue into the weekend as we'll have a chance of some isolated thunderstorms both Friday and into Saturday. And it's Mountain Valley Heating and Air Conditioning that want you to feel the love as they give away and install 5 new furnace and air conditioners to families in need. Now, you can still nominate a family by going to mountainvalleyhvac.com. That's mountainvalleyhvac.com. And with your KVNU News headlines, I'm Will Feelright.
ABC News, I'm Dave Packer. The diagnosis for President Trump, the White House says chronic. General today visiting Alcatraz on the heels of a directive from President Trump and then 3 people died or were wounded. Pope Francis. This is news.
Today's hearing aid technology can improve not only your life, but the lives of the people who care about you. Once again, you'll be able to hear the reason for their laughter and understand conversations. Dr. Paul Danes will customize a hearing improvement program to meet your unique requirements, whatever they are. Call Dr. Danes for an appointment at 753-HERE and let him show you how.
Bring back what you've been missing. Bring back Cache Valley Hearing and Audiology.
Tire prices got you in a tailspin? Take a deep breath because Discount Tire and Automotive has your back with their 49th anniversary sale. Right now, save up to $249 with a free alignment when you buy any 4 Michelin or BF Goodrich tires. That's real savings on the brands you trust. And we're making it easier than ever to get the tires you need with flexible financing options like 12 months no interest, layaway, and no credit check financing. Don't forget, you're always protected by our guaranteed lowest tire prices, period. No gimmicks, just honest deals from the team you trust. Book your service or shop online anytime at webtires.net or swing by Discount Tire and Automotive, celebrating 49 years of savings and service with 3 convenient locations in Logan, Providence, and Smithfield.
Discount Tire. So much more than a tire store.
The Above and Beyond Salute.
Is this Sherry? I'm sorry about waking you up, but can I at least make it up to you by giving you free lunch over at Firehouse Subs?
Yeah.
All right. This individual that had reached out to us anonymously also mentioned that on top of being a third grade teacher and on top of volunteering all the time, you're also a mother of 5. Is that right?
Yeah.
That's probably why I woke you up, huh?
Yeah.
The Above and Beyond Salute on News Talk KVNU.
Welcome back to KVNU's For the People. Logan City Council member and Cache Water District Board member Jeannie Simmons joining us here in the studio. We've been talking about their recent hire, the district's recent hire of a conservation coordinator, an Aggie, graduate of Utah State University, who will serve as the spokesperson for the district, coordinating with cities and more, and hoping to translate some of that information and opportunity coming from the state on down out to cities. And just on that front quickly, Jeannie, I just thought of this during the break, but I would imagine, too, a challenge for all of you on the board in the Water District is you have the Wasatch Front is probably a little more homogenous as far as water concerns and need. Here in Cache County, you've got Logan City with, a set of water concerns and need that are going to be really different than Cove or Richmond or Hiram. And I imagine that presents quite a challenge when it comes to conservation and planning ahead. Sorry.
Oh, yeah.
Wrong button.
That's okay. One of the things you have to remember about Cache Valley is, and the water district itself, most of the other water districts in the state, Weber Basin, Jordan Valley, Salt Lake City, Utah Valley, the Utah Valley Conservation District, they all own water. Sure. They all own the water that they deliver to people's homes. They own the water that is delivered to people's fields, for that matter. So their methodology is slightly different, because if they can measure conservation much more precisely than we're able to measure conservation. So our thought is that we need to expand the awareness of conservation and let our smaller communities decide how they can best implement conservation measures for their own citizens.
Makes sense.
So it's a much more nuanced approach than the ability to say, we're going to cut 30% here and you're going to do it.
Sure.
Because we don't have that ability, and we, quite frankly, are not a community or a valley that would think that was a fun plan.
Yeah, I can imagine how that would go over, and also how we would get there. This is funny, and I know as a water district board member, this isn't your responsibility, and you probably can't answer. But a listener chiming in here and saying, "What should I do if my city is still watering at 1 p.m. on a Wednesday?" I assume they just saw this today. The answer there, right, is just maybe mention it to the city.
Absolutely.
A lot of times they don't know that that's happening.
I agree entirely. We have shifted, in Logan City anyway, all of the watering to early morning, late at night kind of schedules. It's mostly early morning because you get less evaporation, you get better water infiltration into your plants and your grass and whatever else it is you're watering, and you don't get that. I mean, it's like putting water on something that's already really hot. I think maybe it boils it a little. It
sizzles and evaporates off. Yeah. I know, I have to laugh because we had it was actually an arborist from USU Extension in once, and that kind of came up, and he said, watering at 1 in the afternoon in July is absolutely useless. That plant is getting nothing from the water. Even the water that does actually manage to seep into the dirt, it's getting nothing from that. It's leaving the dirt too quickly. And so water overnight, late at night, early in the morning instead. And that was the first time I thought about that. But yeah, you do occasionally see those sprinklers on sometimes. And if it's a neighbor you can talk to, you can just mention it to them nicely. If it's a city, I know in my city recently there was an issue with, a couple of years ago there was an issue with this, and it was literally no one had noticed. No one with the city had noticed that a certain section of sprinklers on the ball diamond was coming on at 1 in the afternoon. A resident finally mentioned it to them. They went and changed it. It's that simple. But that's a big deal, right? It seems minor, but if we're all doing a little bit of that, it helps, right?
Absolutely. Every bit that we can do to conserve and utilize our water to its best and highest use.
Sure.
In our lawns, in our outside, the better off we're going to be. And we're not getting smaller.
No.
And so the more people that come, the more need there is for culinary water, the more need there is for outside water, for that matter. And I think that if we don't figure out how to conserve, we will have to take much more drastic measures in the future than we would have to take if we think about it now.
Sure.
And work toward it.
And it's always easier. I mean, you know this probably from your time work on the city council with infrastructure. It's always easier to do things in advance and cheaper,
yes,
right?
Absolutely.
You don't wait for the sewer pipe to break. You
try not to.
Yeah, that's right. You anticipate the break and replace it before it breaks.
It was interesting. On a very side note, we recently adopted a new water and sewer master plan. And they identified all the pipes and they graded all of them.
Oh, really?
In the city. And so
wow.
It was really interesting because some of those grades are not great. And you think,
sure.
Well, that's $2 million or that's $5 million.
Just checking it off. Yeah.
It's overwhelming even when you plan ahead.
Sure. Even then, you're still, infrastructure especially, and then it's unavoidable. You have to spend the money.
Eventually.
Eventually that's going to come up. And that applies to our water infrastructure too. And I know you see this both as a city council member, Logan City working now on this new tank and pipeline that will be in place running down Canyon Road there. You can see cities like Logan and some of the smaller cities as well starting to plan for this growth but as a water district board member, I assume being on city council helps you navigate a lot of what the district deals with. But just as a district board member, is it ever overwhelming? When you think of the growth, when you think of and water is always going to be finite, right? There's no endless supply we can tap into somewhere. But
correct.
Are there times when you leave a district board meeting and think, ooh, I don't know if we can pull this off?
Well, the interesting thing was when I first started being on the board, because I was one of the initial board members.
Sure.
I would go to meetings and I was sure it was all going to come to a crashing halt.
Sure.
Because it was an overwhelming planning process, even.
It looks that way sometimes.
And so having done that, what we're doing with the Cashwater District seems doable. It's not hard work, but I think a lot of planning and a lot of looking forward. And I think if we continue to do that, we will bring the community along with it and we'll be a better place for it.
Are there areas in the valley that are kind of, a priority right now where you're looking right now? You mentioned the work at Hiram Dam and what's going on there. People forget that has an irrigation element to it as well.
A huge irrigation element to it.
Like a third of the valley, right?
Yes. So they're redoing the spillway, and that was a project that we got some federal money to do. And it's going to take a long time. They've closed a road for 3 years, I believe.
Yeah.
That goes across it.
2029.
But it's much needed. And hopefully there's the possibility exists that Hiram Reservoir could be larger. And maybe that's something that we can plan for in the future, or we can work toward in the future. It's we do a water master plan for the entire valley.
Sure.
And we upgrade it, and we are updated. I don't say we upgrade it, excuse me. But we have to continually evolve. We all have to continually evolve. So we all want to have water we want our community to stay the way it is, the way it looks, the way we feel about it. And we have to work hard as a community, as an entire community, to make sure that stays that way.
Sure. That is, and we're fairly lucky here in northern Utah, because I remember a recent water district report. There was after those two bad drought summers back to back, or drought years back to back, not just the summer, there was look into building additional reservoirs, which as I understand is still on the table. But when everyone got looking, they said, you know what? Okay, we're actually reservoir wise, we're actually kind of okay right now if we conserve, if we're careful, but add 60% of the population to the current population, that might change quickly, right?
Correct.
So,
and I think that there were some projects that were talked about that would have built a large reservoir north of Brigham City. And the challenge with that is that Cache County has the rights to some Bear River water, but it would all be in that reservoir, and we'd have to pay to pump it back.
Oh, wow. So we'd have some rights, but then kind of...
And it would be extremely expensive.
I can imagine that, actually.
So, the fact that we would look at other possibilities within Cache County or within the valley are a direct result of that challenge.
Sure. And there are a lot of different plans kind of being, discussed and weighed, right? Like from multiple small reservoirs to one big reservoir further north. And but that's the planning we're talking about, right?
Exactly.
And keeping all these ideas, all these plates spinning as we watch things play out.
And I think that you have to realize, too, that we will only be able to do a lot of these projects if we can access money either from the state or the federal government.
Sure. I can't think of a city that has that just sitting around.
We don't have those deep of pockets.
Yeah, unless we want a wholly different way of funding our cities, which I don't think residents would like. This is always fascinating to discuss, and I appreciate your time. Jeannie Simmons, Logan City Council member and also board member for the Cache Water District. Again, they've recently hired a conservation coordinator. Maybe we can get her in here one day and introduce her to listeners soon. And
that would be great.
Well, and Jeannie, I hope we always have an excuse, but I hope we have an excuse soon to have you back in as well.
Oh, thank you very much. I always enjoy it.
Oh, always a pleasure to have you in, and a great conversation here. A little look into what the Cache Water District is up to with board member Jeannie Simmons, also a member of Logan City Council, our guest here in the studio. And for listeners, stick around on the other side what Cache County Executive David Zook had to say after taking part in Governor Cox's patriotic celebration at the Capitol this week, and how Zook says we can bring a little bit of this sentiment from the governor's presentation.
Talk 610 AM, 102.1 FM, KVNU.
Dollar Loan Center now has 2 new locations in Logan and Ogden. Forget everything you've heard about short-term lending because DLC does it right. We're proud to announce that we're now open in Logan on Highway 89 near Walmart and in Ogden on 12th Street and Lincoln Avenue. Dollar Loan Center offers signature loans up to $5,000 in minutes, and you don't need great credit or collateral. No checking account required, no application fees, no origination fees, and no prepayment penalty. It's easy to qualify, and you only pay interest for the time you have the loan out. If you have a payday or title loan now, you are going to love Dollar Loan Center because you are paying too much. It costs nothing to find out how much you can borrow and get your first loan. The first week of interest is even on us, and there are no application fees. Really? Check us out online at don'tbebroke.com.
Licensed by the Utah Department of Financial Institutions. Subject to approval, limitations may apply. See website for details.
How do you picture the golden years of life? Does it involve meaningful activities with family and friends? Maybe a field trip to some local sites with fun activities and social opportunities? Homemade meals, so you don't have to go to the grocery store. If you picture the golden years as some of your best years, may I suggest you see what Legacy House of Logan has to offer.
At Legacy House of Logan, we know how to take care of your loved ones, and it shows in every detail. Legacy House of Logan, your life just a little easier.
How are your eyes? Is your vision not as clear as it used to be? Did you know over 24 million Americans over the age of 40 are affected by cataracts? This is Dr. Christian Nilsson from the Northern Utah Eye Center. Cataract surgery is one of the safest, most common, and effective surgical procedures performed today. With cataract removal, patients can choose new lenses to customize their vision. Our surgical team will ensure your vision is our focus. Visit northernutaheyecenter.com or call 752-2020 today.
You're gonna love what you see
Hey, Sean Hannity here. It is critical we keep AM radio in all cars and all trucks. Text AM to 52886 today.
Standard message and data rates apply.
Welcome back to KVNU's For the People. I don't get a chance to do this very often on the show because, we've got the Fan 106.9, Eric and Jason, and the Full Court Press every afternoon at 4, the same time that we're on. So they cover it, basically. So we don't spend a lot of time on sports here on the show, and that won't change anytime soon. But occasionally there is a sports-related story that is big enough that we make some time for it. And personally, I think this one falls into that category because it's Bronco Mendenhall. It's USU Aggies. Everyone knows the details on this. But what you may not know is that KVNU, CashValleyDaily.com, and The Fan were able to get two of ours out to Mountain West Media Days. And Craig Hislop and Eric Franson had a chance, representing both KVNU and 106.9 The Fan, our sister station, to sit down with Bronco and pick his brain. And for USU Aggie fans, there was some welcome news. There were some long unanswered questions answered. And here's just a little bit of that interview, which you can watch in its entirety at CashValleyDaily.com's CV Daily Sports YouTube channel, which I've linked to on our Facebook page. But here's a little bit of what they had to talk about this morning.
Is Bryson Barnes the starting quarterback?
Bryson Barnes is the starting quarterback, yep. And, man, I'm lucky that he's at Utah State. I love who he is as a person. I love his leadership skills, the experience he brings, but the mindset especially. So really looking forward to him.
You can tell just being around him, that guy loves football. He's got a lot of energy. And he loves to just be a part of what's going on a football team. And just any more on that, just watching him as a leader, because there's a lot of change. There's a lot of things that were uncertain coming into this year, but his role in kind of helping keep things together on the offense and just as a team as a whole.
Well, I think that the keeping it together part might be a little overrated because there's so few players that are remaining. We've added 87 new players. And so when you think about that in a roster size typically in college football now of 105, give or take, that number is really what was there to keep together.
It's so crazy.
And so as we're restarting, basically, it wasn't really where he was keeping together. He was becoming the catalyst leading forward and creating new relationships and building new bonds and solidifying direction, while at the same time he was having to decide with a new coach, is this the right approach for him? Right. And so not only did he have to become aligned and have his heart captured and choose to lead, then he had to choose to do it with other people. And so that takes time. And he's just, I would just say in general, that process of building our culture, building alignment, the direction, the work ethic, and what's happening is the speed is happening beyond, I think, what anyone could have expected. That then yields, and my first approach is the cultural part. That then yields the greatest chance to now start executing the schemes and the strategies and installations to then build a comprehensive approach to playing the game that has to show up soon, right? UTEP is game one and they keep score. So, but without having the foundational part of how we're going to do it and why we're going to do it, it's pretty hollow when you play the game. And you can do it that way. It's just not how that way I want to do it. And so we've put an extra amount of time on all of the foundational parts. But we've also made great success or great strides already in installation and how we're going to play the game. And again, I don't talk about it much because really it's giving away an advantage I don't have to give away. And so while the fans, I want them to come and be excited. If no one knows what we're going to do or how we're going to do it until we play, everyone's behind in preparation for Utah State because they don't know. And so it's frustrating to many, but I think it's wise in terms of tactics.
You said when you were introduced in December, we're at this moment, we're looking at all the film we can and deciding what's going to happen with personnel. Right. And then one thing comes after that. We're not going to set any schemes right now. Didn't a few guys that were there last year maybe weren't what you were looking for?
Oh, yeah. The first 4 days when I when we landed in Logan, my staff, again, most of them have been with me for a long time or played for me. We spent 4 days of doing nothing other than evaluating the existing roster. That also included academic records, social conduct, any way, shape, or form, because we didn't know these kids. And then we made phone calls as to, yes, we think you'll be a great fit here, or we think you're going to struggle, and this is how come. We didn't cut a single player, but we did advise, saying this is our, and now with the portal being now, the sooner you enter, the better, if you plan to enter. But if not, these things are going to have to change for you to fit in the program. And so really, I think it's the most humane and the best for everyone to say that really clearly on the front end. Many had already decided when I was hired, they were already moving on. Some after my hire had decided. Very few of those phone calls were the reason. Sometimes that was just a validation. And then at the same time that was happening, we were formulating what our needs were, where we were going to get those needs, and at what level. It might need to be an upperclassman. It might be, are there freshmen still available, right? And trying to get the succession plan in place to where we could not only play this year, but we wouldn't have a giant drop-off for the next year, and you kind of have to prioritize that as you go.
With this being Mountain West Football Media Days, they come out with a preseason poll, and there's always a mystery about really how valid that is, but
it's completely invalid.
Yeah,
just for the record.
Yeah, because as you've detailed, there's so much roster changeover for you, and that's really the case for everybody else. But they do also put together a preseason team of players, of recognition, and that's where I think that's maybe a little bit more interesting to look at. Ike Larson, one of your guys, ends up on that list. And that's probably more a reflection of his entire body of work, probably more so than what he did last year. A little bit of an off year last year. But what kind of player do you see from him, and why do you think he would be one to receive that kind of a Mountain West recognition?
Yeah, I think, first of all, just acknowledging anything preseason, again, I think is mostly, I don't ever know when a preseason poll has been accurate. No, I don't know if it's ever been accurate. So there might have been number one on occasion predicted, but usually not, certainly not 1 through 4. I don't know if it's ever been 1 through 3. I don't even know if it's been 1 through 2. And yet we talk about it, and so I think it's nonsense.
Bronco pulling no punches there. You can hear the entire interview via the link on our Facebook page or visit the CV Daily Sports YouTube channel. And this, again, was an opportunity for Craig and Eric to ask a lot of questions. So that's just a short highlight reel, if you will. I recommend that you listen to the whole thing. Quite some insight into the future of USU football with new coach Bronco Mendenhall at the Mountain West Media Days event. That interview happening this morning. And thanks again to Eric and Craig for making sure we got that audio. That's our show for today, but I hope you'll be back with us tomorrow. The For the People movie show with Andy Morgan on tomorrow's show. And stick around. Dave Ramsey is next here on KVNU.